The alleged culprits of the government high school stabbing have their day in court. The health minister defends Family Island lockdowns and conch sales resume. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Tuesday, May 25th. The teens allegedly responsible for fatally wounding a student at government high school in a stabbing incident last week had their day in court today. Laurencia Smith has the details.
Two juveniles ages 15 and 16 whose faces are both concealed as they were escorted into the magistrate court on Tuesday appeared before Magistrate Cara Turnquest DeVoe to answer to one count of each murder and attempted murder. It is alleged that on May 18th, the juveniles were responsible for the unlawful death of Kim Paul and attempted unlawful death of Timothy Michael Johnson on the government high school campus. Now, on the day in question, the defendants fled the scene. Both National Security Minister Marvin Dames and police officers pled to the duo to turn themselves over to the police, which they did on May 21st. The juveniles appeared to be somber in the courtroom. While the victim's father was very emotional due to the nature of the crime, the boys were not allowed to enter a plea. The magistrate remanded them to the Simpson Penn School for Boys until the 27th of July, when the Crown will serve them with a voluntary bill of indictment. I'm Laurencia Smith for JCN News.
Cat Island, North and Central Andros, in the first day of a 2-week lockdown, with at least 100 residents of Cat Island in quarantine and 9 confirmed COVID-19 cases in a single day on Andros. Lockdowns for those residents kicked in at 8 p.m. Monday. This means no in-person activities and travel to and from those islands are prohibited, except for essential workers during the 14-day period, according to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who made the announcement in a national address on Sunday. Bullocks Harbor and Great Harbor Key also went into a 2-week lockdown on Saturday. Special advisor to the Prime Minister and chair of the National COVID-19 Consultative Vaccine Committee, Dr. Mercelyn Dowell-Regis, says health teams are currently on those islands under the lockdown, managing the outbreaks.
On the Berry Islands, the index case originated from a church event. There are 24 active cases of the COVID virus on Bullocks Harbor. We must contain the spread of this virus. On the island of Andros, there were 9 new cases reported in a single day. This is significant. The health team is presently conducting contact tracing and vaccination on the island at this time. On Cat Island, there are 33 active cases of the COVID-19 virus. 109 residents are in quarantine. 7 of the 13 persons under investigation tested positive. The island has a positivity rate of 58%.
That said, Dr. Dowell-Regis says health officials remain concerned about the new variants of COVID-19 identified internationally. Add to that, the virus is now affecting the younger population and children under 9 years of age.
However, we note that COVID-19 is new in its behavior and has changed its properties over the last 15 months. This is no longer a virus that affects your grandmother, your mom, or your dad. It is now infecting younger persons. As you see here, more young people are contracting the virus.
She adds, though, that now the government has access to COVID-19 vaccines and treatments to help fight the transmission of the virus and its support of the medical care of COVID-19 cases. Health Minister Renward Wells defending the competent authorities' recent decision to place Bullocks Harbor and Great Harbor Key in the Berry Islands, Cat Island, and North and Central Andros, all on 14-day lockdowns. The minister, just before the weekly cabinet meeting, says those lockdowns are essential to prevent a mass breakout of the COVID-19 within the islands. The Berry Islands communities began its 2-week lockdown on Saturday night.
We do not have all of the infrastructure in the islands, the ventilators, the negative pressure inside the government facilities to be able to hold on to those persons who would become critical with COVID. We would have to fly them out and fly them into New Providence. So our position has always been, if we see the expanding and surging of COVID in an island, that the government will move expeditiously to break the chains of transmission.
Minister Wells noting that New Providence and Grand Bahama are in a better position than the other family islands to house critically ill individuals. Now, as to whether the government is worried about not having enough aircrafts to airlift patients out from the family islands if need be, the minister says this.
Because we only have a couple of caravans that are capable of transporting individuals, the larger aircraft. We have both the police and the Defense Force caravans that we enlist from time to time, and so we have to be extremely judicious in our use of such, because once we use them, they themselves are down for a day or two, being sanitized, and the individuals themselves having to be quarantined.
The health minister acknowledging that the government is going to have a look into sourcing additional caravans, possibly with a private sector operator for the future. The Bahamas is set to receive 33,000 more doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine through the COVAX facility by the end of this week. This would complete the 100,000 doses that the government was due to receive from the Pan American Health Organization. This much coming from Minister of Health Renward Wells outside of Cabinet this morning. He also spoke to the effectiveness of the AstraZeneca vaccine to COVID-19 variants. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works Desmond Bannister gives an update on the demolition of shanty towns over on Abaco outside of Cabinet this morning. He's also urging residents in New Providence to report instances of shanty town homes being constructed.
This weekend, I had constituents of mine in Carmichael who sent me photographs showing shanty houses being constructed at a shanty town in my constituency. Another one in Tall Pines. And if you see these photographs, they're very close to the homes of legally built homes by Bahamians. They're going to cause challenges in those communities. The building control officer has been notified. We're going to give them the requisite notices, and we're going to take them down.
Minister Bannister adds that there's now a culture developing with individuals determined not to comply with court orders which prohibit erecting new structures in those communities. As for demolition here in the capital, he says this.
We're moving every day. Every single day we do something. Every day. We don't necessarily broadcast what we do, but remember, under the law, we have to post notices. So we have to give a 28-day notice, and in many cases, if something is not complete, we have to give a 14-day notice. So the law requires us to do certain things, and we act within the law, notwithstanding the fact that these structures are illegal. We have to comply with the law, otherwise the courts will hold us responsible.
He says it is absolutely critical the country get this under control, and the only way to do so is if Bahamians report what they see. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.